Recent geological discoveries are shaking up our understanding of the Earth's geological history. Now, signs of a new continent hiding beneath Greenland and Canada are bringing up some fascinating questions about our planet's past. This hidden landmass has been hidden for millions of years, lying silently beneath the icy expanses of the North. This makes us wonder, what other secrets does this buried continent hold? How did it come to be submerged? And what does this reveal about the Earth's complex and changing geography? Hidden continent found under Davis Strait. Scientists just made an exciting discovery in the Davis Strait, located west of Greenland. They found a piece of a microcontinent that failed to fully form around 58 million years ago. This tiny, incomplete continent has been hiding beneath the waters between Canada and Greenland. The Davis Strait, which is about 200 to 400 miles wide, links the Labrador Sea and Baffin Bay. It has always confused researchers because of its unusually thick seafloor. Now, they've uncovered the reason. This thick crust is actually part of a long-lost continent that never completely separated when Greenland and Canada drifted apart. Scientists have said that by figuring out why the tectonic plates move the way they do, we can get a better understanding on what's really driving plate tectonics. This knowledge could help us predict future geological events and understand the Earth's changing landscape. It's like piecing together a giant puzzle of our planet's history. New discoveries on Davis Strait to be published. The team's upcoming publication in the September issue of the journal Gondwana Research offers the most detailed analysis yet of this incomplete rifting process. Interestingly, the researchers believe they've found an ancient fault in the area, much like California's San Andreas Fault. This fault might have guided Greenland's initial separation from Canada around 60 million years ago. However, the separation wasn't complete. About 33 million years ago, Greenland stopped drifting away from North America and remained on the North American tectonic plate. This failed rift zone is fascinating for scientists studying how tectonic plates move and break apart, says Jordan Fethian, a geophysicist at Derby University. Discovery of proto-microcontinent in Davis Strait. Scientists are calling this newly discovered piece of continental crust under the Davis Strait a proto-microcontinent. Basically, microcontinents are bits of crust that broke off from bigger continents. Many of these pieces end up underwater, surrounded by denser oceanic crust, but some, like Madagascar, turn into islands. The chunk under the Davis Strait didn't fully break away. It's a 12 to 15 mile thick section of continental crust, bordered by slightly thinner continental crust that's about 9 to 10.5 miles thick on each side. Because it didn't completely separate, it's labeled as a proto-microcontinent. Stormy day in Strait Davis looks insane. Stormy days in the Davis Strait are blowing people's minds. Check out this incredible footage. This new continent was formed in 2024 because of some crazy science. Millions of years ago, tectonic plate movements created this stretch of water, and now it's revealed a hidden piece of continental crust. The tectonic activity that shaped the Davis Strait really shook things up, forming a thick section of continental crust under the ocean. This newly found crust is now known as a primitive microcontinent, dubbed the Davis Strait proto-microcontinent. This landmass formed directly from the tectonic shifts in the area and is pretty hefty, measuring between 12 and 15 miles thick. It's flanked by two narrower bands of continental crust, each about 9 to 10.5 miles thick. This discovery gives us fresh insights into the geological history of the region and offers an exciting chance for scientists to dive into the tectonic evolution that created it. It not only boosts our understanding of Earth's past, but also sheds light on the ongoing processes shaping our planet. Exploring the Strait. The Davis Strait, also known as the northern arm of the Atlantic Ocean, sits north of the Labrador Sea. This vast stretch of water lies between the southwestern coast of Greenland and the southeastern coast of Baffin Island in Nunavut, Canada. Its spot is pretty strategic, placing it right at a crucial junction between two major landmasses. Geographic significance. Serving as a crucial boundary, the Davis Strait separates the northern depths of Baffin Bay from the southern waters of the Labrador Sea. This strait is a vital part of the Northwest Passage, a historic and significant maritime route that cuts through the Canadian Arctic archipelago, providing a connection between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Baffin Bay's location. Baffin Bay, which the Davis Strait connects, is nestled between Baffin Island and Greenland's west coast. While it is often referred to as a marginal sea of the Arctic Ocean, it is also considered a small sea of the North Atlantic. This dual identity highlights its unique position in global geography. Baffin Island. Baffin Island is bordered to the west by Baffin Bay and to the south by Davis Strait, both significant bodies of water that connect the Arctic and Atlantic Oceans. The interplay between Baffin Island, Baffin Bay, and Davis Strait highlights the island's integral role in the Arctic marine environment and its significance in Arctic navigation and exploration. It is the largest island in Canada and the fifth largest in the world, is an expansive and rugged landscape located in the Arctic archipelago. Baffin Bay, a marginal sea of the North Atlantic Ocean, is known for its deep waters and rich marine life, while Davis Strait, a broad channel, serves as a crucial passageway for sea ice and marine traffic between the Labrador Sea and the Baffin Bay. The island's proximity to these waters has influenced its climate, ecosystem, and the way of life for its indigenous Inuit population, who have historically relied on the bay and strait for hunting and transportation. Navigational challenges. During the winter months, the Davis Strait becomes nearly impassable due to severe ice conditions. Thick ice covers its surface, floating icebergs drift through its waters, and heavy fog blankets the area, making navigation extremely hazardous. These conditions starkly contrast with its more navigable summer state. Size and depth. The stunning green sky at night in this continent is unlike anything. Visitors are astounded by its beauty and the enormous size of this continent. The Davis Strait extends roughly 400 miles from north to south and ranges between 200 and 400 miles in width. Its water depth varies significantly, from 1,000 to 2,000 meters, making it considerably shallower than the southern Labrador Sea. This variation in depth contributes to its complex underwater topography. Geological features. The strait is home to intricate geological formations, including underwater basins and ridges. These features were created through strike-slip faulting along the Ungava Fault Zone approximately 45 to 62 million years ago. This tectonic activity in the Labrador Sea and Baffin Bay played a pivotal role in shaping the Davis Strait. Ocean currents. Two distinct ocean currents influence the Davis Strait, resulting in varied ice concentrations on each side. The western Greenland current brings warmer waters eastward from Greenland, while the Labrador current pushes iceberg-filled waters southward along the Canadian coast, through the Labrador Sea and into the Atlantic. This dynamic flow regime leads to heavy ice and icebergs along the western shore and more open waters near Greenland. Historical significance. The Davis Strait is named after John Davis, an English navigator who explored the area during 3 voyages from 1585 to 1587. While he was trying to find a northern sea route to the Pacific, a successful Northwest Passage transit wasn't completed until 1906. However, Davis's explorations were crucial as they set the stage for future explorers like William Baffin and Henry Hudson. His voyages provided essential mapping and insights that guided later expeditions, underscoring the strait's lasting historical importance. John Davis was born around 1550 near Dartmouth, Devon, England, and he passed away on December 29th or 30th, 1605, near Bintan Island, close to Singapore. As an English navigator, he was determined to find the Northwest Passage through the Canadian Arctic to reach the Pacific. Davis proposed his ambitious plan in 1583 to Sir Francis Walsingham, who was Queen Elizabeth III's principal secretary. By 1585, he embarked on his first expedition to the Northwest. During this voyage, Davis encountered the ice-bound eastern shore of Greenland and decided to head south, rounding Cape Farewell. He then sailed north along the western coast of Greenland. Believing he was heading towards China, Davis ventured into Cumberland Sound, which penetrates Baffin Island, before ultimately turning back. His explorations and discoveries were vital in mapping the region and providing valuable information for future navigators. What helped in the discovery of the Davis Strait proto-microcontinent? Baffin Island, nestled between Greenland and the Canadian mainland, played a significant role in the recent discovery of the proto-microcontinent in the Davis Strait. Covering an area of 195,928 square miles, Baffin Island is not only the largest island in Canada, but also the fifth largest in the world. This island is bordered by Baffin Bay and Davis Strait to the north and east, and by Hudson Strait to the south, separating it from the Labrador-Ungava mainland. It is part of the Baffin region within Nunavut, Canada. The history of Baffin Island is fascinating. Norse explorers are believed to have visited it in the 11th century. Later, during his search for the Northwest Passage between 1576 and 1578, British explorer Martin Frobisher sighted the island. Named after the 17th century English navigator William Baffin, the island has a legacy of exploration and discovery. This rich history of exploration around Baffin Island contributed to the understanding of the Davis Strait. The strait itself, lying adjacent to Baffin Island, was an area of interest due to its unique geological formations and strategic location. These historical explorations and subsequent studies helped pave the way for the recent discovery of the proto-microcontinent in the Davis Strait, highlighting the region's ongoing importance in geological research and exploration. John Davis's adventures and discoveries. In 1586 and 1587, John Davis gave the Northwest Passage another go. On his last trip, he sailed through what's now called the Davis Strait, went into Baffin Bay, and made his way north along Greenland's western coast to Disco Island, which is around 70 degrees north. Davis got pretty creative with the local Greenland Eskimo by bringing musicians and having his crew dance, which helped make friends with these sociable folks. Davis named a bunch of Arctic spots like Cape Walsingham and Cumberland Sound. He probably commanded the ship Black Dog against the Spanish Armada in 1588, and later joined Thomas Cavendish on his final voyage in 1591. While searching for a route through the Strait of Magellan, Davis stumbled upon the Falkland Islands on August 9, 1592. He also sailed with Sir Walter Raleigh to Cadiz and the Azores between 1596 and 1597, and he went on expeditions to the East Indies in 1598 and 1601. Sadly, on his third trip to the Indies, Japanese pirates killed him. Davis wasn't just an explorer. He also invented a nifty navigation tool called the backstaff, or Davis quadrant, which sailors used until the 18th century to measure latitude by the sun's angle. He wrote a navigation guide, The Seaman's Secret, in 1594, and another work, The World's Hydrographical Description, in 1595, all about the Northwest Passage. Rediscovery of the Argoland. Back in 2023, scientists managed to piece together the remnants of a continent that had drifted away from Western Australia about 155 million years ago. This landmass, known as Argoland, seemed to have vanished as it moved northward toward Southeast Asia. However, the mystery of its disappearance has finally been cracked. Argoland had quite the messy breakup with Western Australia. As tectonic forces stretched it out, the landmass disintegrated and scattered across Southeast Asia. Researchers had long suspected that a chunk of land split from Australia 155 million years ago, thanks to geological clues from the Argo Abyssal Plain off Australia's northwest coast. Unlike India, which split from the ancient supercontinent Gondwana 120 million years ago and still remains a solid landmass, Argoland shattered into fragments. Scientists were left puzzled about where these pieces ended up. Knowing it had to be north of Australia, they focused on Southeast Asia. In a study published on October 19th in the journal Gondwana Research, researchers reconstructed Argoland's journey and found pieces of ancient land scattered around Indonesia and Myanmar. However, when they tried to fit these fragments together, nothing made sense. The team then worked backward, gathering more evidence in Southeast Asia to trace Argoland's northward drift. Among the scattered fragments, they discovered remnants of small oceans dating back roughly 200 million years. These oceans likely formed as tectonic forces stretched and cracked Argoland before it broke off. Over 50 to 60 million years, the fragments and oceans drifted towards Southeast Asia. They didn't lose a continent. It was already a highly fragmented ensemble. Researchers referred to Argoland as an archipelago to reflect its shattered state. This reconstruction offers insights into the region's past climate, which likely cooled as oceans formed between the fragments. As Argoland's pieces collided with land masses in Southeast Asia, they also influenced the region's rich biodiversity, explaining the uneven distribution of species along an invisible barrier through Indonesia. Piecing together Argoland's journey is a springboard for new research, shedding light on the dynamic processes shaping our planet. Life in the deep, dark sea. In 1977, oceanographer Robert Ballard was hired by the National Geographic Society to use Alvin, a submersible vehicle that can dive as deep as 4,500 meters into the ocean. His mission was to explore hydrothermal vents located deep on the Pacific Ocean floor. During his dive, Ballard discovered life forms that don't rely on photosynthesis to survive. This remarkable find proved that there are still many unknown life forms on Earth waiting to be discovered. The creatures he found thrive in total darkness, living off the energy from the Earth's heat rather than sunlight, showcasing the incredible adaptability of life. Finding the Titanic. In 2017, Robert Ballard revealed that the Titanic mission was actually a cover for a top-secret military operation. The real objective was to investigate two nuclear submarines that had sunk during the Cold War, the USS Thresher and the USS Scorpion. Ironically, both were located near where the Titanic had gone down. Without this coincidence, Ballard wouldn't have been the one to find the Titanic. The Navy needed detailed photos of both wreck sites and wanted to know the status of the nuclear reactors, the condition of the nuclear weapons, and whether the Soviets had been there. Ballard suggested using the Titanic search as a cover for this mission to Secretary of the Navy John Lehman and Admiral Thunman. Though Thunman initially thought it was a crazy idea, he eventually approved it, with the condition that no extra money be spent. Ballard worked quickly, having already mapped the Thresher a year earlier. The Scorpion was more of a mystery, but within a week, he had mapped it extensively and found no signs of human remains. The reactors were intact, which was a relief. Once the Navy was satisfied, Ballard and his team headed off to find the Titanic, with only 12 days to search. Drawing from his experience with the Thresher and Scorpion, Ballard realized that the heavy parts of the submarines sank straight down, while lighter debris scattered in a line. He figured the Titanic would be the same, so instead of searching for big pieces, they focused on finding the debris trail, allowing them to widen their search lines. The search was initially futile, and after days of looking, Ballard started to think they'd failed. However, during a midnight watch, just as he was about to give up, they finally spotted the wreckage. Seeing the boiler on the screen confirmed the Titanic's location, and the team celebrated. The celebration was short-lived. Someone noted it was 2 a.m., just 20 minutes before the Titanic had sunk. This comment brought everyone back to the somber reality of their location. They were at the very spot where so many lives had been lost. The room fell silent as everyone reflected on the significance of the moment. It was a profoundly powerful experience. Dinosaurs used to live in Antarctica. In the mid-1980s through the early 1990s, scientists found numerous fossilized dinosaur bones in the frozen lands of Antarctica. This was possible because during the time of the dinosaurs, the Earth was 50 degrees hotter and the Antarctic plate was located in the southwest Pacific Ocean. Outstanding aerial view of Machu Picchu. Built in the 15th century by the Incas, this large citadel sits on a mountain ridge and remained hidden from the outside world until Yale archaeologist Hiram Bingham discovered it in 1911 with the help of a local farmer. This incredible piece of architecture was named one of the new 7 wonders of the world in 2007, a meteorite containing possible life from Mars. Antarctica's vast and largely undisturbed landscape makes it relatively easy to find meteorites. In 1996, a group of scientists from Stanford University and NASA found a fist-sized meteorite that came from Mars and landed on Earth about 13,000 years ago. This meteorite contained what appeared to be fossilized microbial life forms from the Red Planet. The discovery of a new world. On August 3, 1492, Christopher Columbus set sail in search of a new route to Asia. He knew the Earth was round, but had no idea how big it actually was. By October, he and his crew landed on a small island he named San Salvador. Over the next few years, more explorations were made, leading to the discovery of the Americas and the Caribbean islands. Huge collection of footprints discovered on mudflats. In October 2016, scientists discovered hundreds of footprints made by ancient humans, dating back as far as 19,000 years ago in Tanzania. These footprints were found in an area where many ancient tools and bones have been unearthed, showing groups of people traveling together. This shows that the human species was way different before us. The Dead Sea Scrolls. First discovered in 1947 by some goat shepherds who accidentally found ancient jars containing 7 manuscripts while looking for a lost goat. Over the next 10 years, more manuscripts were found. These scrolls, dating back over 2,000 years, are some of the earliest copies of biblical stories written in Aramaic and Hebrew. Robot gives rare glimpse under Antarctic sea ice. This robot just made a cool discovery under the Antarctic sea ice. After drilling a hole into Antarctica's Ross ice shelf, researchers were amazed to find aquatic creatures, including tiny fish, living underneath a 2,400-foot thick shelf of ice. Despite the minimal light and lack of vegetation, scientists are still unsure what these creatures eat. These recently unearthed discoveries are completely baffling, and nothing like anything anyone's seen before. Who knew there was another continent in the midst of the Earth? This revelation opens up countless possibilities. Let's wait and find out what other secrets lie beneath the very ground that we walk on every day, hidden in plain sight. The Earth still holds many mysteries, and we're just beginning to uncover them.